welcome to the podcast. This is the Mastering Social Media for Schools podcast. So, if you are a school communicator, if you are a administrative assistant or principal or media specialist or volunteer that's responsible for celebrating your school or school district on social media, you are in the right place. And I am so excited to introduce you to Meghan Weaver today. So, Meghan was a listener just like you. And she was listening to a podcast that said, "Hey, I want to know if you want to be on the podcast." And she actually emailed me. And oh my gosh, I am so glad she did because this episode is so chock full of amazing advice from using a microphone to interview folks, to how she edits things, to how she's been able to really build her engagement, to really the fundamental way that she has been able to make sense of her request for more stories from staff. She's broken it down into basically 5 pillars of what makes her school different. And we're going to break those down and also talk about stories associated with each. You guys, this is one you probably want to take some notes on, but if you're listening to this while you're on the go, that's okay. Listen, learn, be inspired, and definitely check out the Facebook and Instagram page so you can see the amazing stories being told. I am so proud of Meghan, a one-person shop, small little school, independent school in Louisiana, but she has been doing this a while and she's got some amazing words of wisdom. Now, my invite, again, my special tip and reminder is that, I get to talk to so many amazing people on this podcast. It's really, truly my favorite part of my job because I just get to talk to people and learn from them and really kind of unpack what they're doing so that you can apply it at your school. And so if you are doing fabulous things in your school or district, or maybe you're even still struggling and through it all and trying to figure it out, and you want to be on this podcast, will you reach out to me, Andrea, at socialschoolforedu.com? I would love to chat with you on this podcast. Okay, now let's get to this week's K-12 PR tip. All right, the 25-26 school year is upon us, and incorporating more video may be on your radar. I want to share a little tip from my friends at Captivate Media. Jake Sturgis has owned his business for as long as I've owned this one. He does amazing things with video, and if you want to take your video to the next level, he's got a great training program, Captivate Academy, that you should definitely check out. But at a recent retreat that I ran, Jake and his team member Chelsea were sharing a concept for video. It's called One Take Tuesday. Now, it's basically a video you create on one take. You know how you can do so many things and you try to get a video, you try to get it perfect, and by the 10th time, you're like, I don't even remember what I said. Guys, it's not about perfection. It's about authenticity. And there's been some folks that have used this concept and it builds this like almost episodic content where it's like, hey, I got to pop back in on Tuesday because it's going to be their One Take Tuesday video. And maybe you take the video on a Monday or a different day, but you're releasing it on Tuesday and it's a one taker. Okay. I'm going to challenge you to that. It's just a great idea that I got out of the retreat. I appreciate Jake and all his ideas. But again, it could be just in a classroom, okay, that you do one take. It could be a little interview with somebody talking about the upcoming homecoming events, okay, but it's one take. It could be about, anything happening in the school, whether it be a student sharing it, whether it be you sharing something and challenging yourself to get out of your comfort zone with a one take Tuesday shot. But I love this idea. So that's my tip for today. Okay. Now let's get into a whole bunch of tips from Meghan Weaver. Let's get started. Good morning, Meghan. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you.
I love your little backdrop. Is that a real backdrop or is that a pretend backdrop?
No, that's real. That's actually my kids' art behind me.
Okay, awesome. It's beautiful. Well, everybody listening, Meghan and I have kind of a unique connection. So back in April, Meghan, you sent me this email. It says, "Hi there. I've been taking a deep dive into your content and podcast since being recommended by a fellow independent school communications director. In a recent episode, you called out for people to reach out if they're interested in being a guest on your podcast. we're doing some fun things on social media, and I'd love to talk about it on the podcast. Take a look at us on Instagram. It's in the show notes, but it's at STM_Saints. Hope to hear from you soon. Best, Megan. So you sent that back in April. Megan, what happened next?
Then you reached out, and then the rest is history, right? Here we
And now
are.
and now we're here doing the interview. I'm so happy that you emailed back because like I say all the time, I mean, I am always learning and I think it's so incredible to be able to hear from real folks just like you and I, just like you and then other people that are working inside schools. And so I'm just so excited that, you emailed me and yes, I do check my emails. So we chatted right away and then it took us a while to get scheduled. Of course, we've got a lot of great people to talk to, but why don't we start out with Megan, you just sharing your background and then your role as Director of Marketing and Communications at St. Martin's Episcopal School in Louisiana.
Absolutely. So, I have been working in school communications for 15, 16, 17, something like that years. Out of college, I started working in communications and engineering firm, and we did a lot of like public meetings and things, and communicating construction projects. And I saw this job opening in a school, and I thought that sounds fun. And I've been in schools ever since, and it's super rewarding, and every day is different, and it's fun to be able to share all those really cool stories.
So what's your background? Like, what did you go to school for?
I majored in communications with like a minor in public relations and marketing.
Okay.
Um, and then, in schools, we kind of just wear every hat and do every type of communications, really. So I've tapped into a lot of that and then learned a lot more along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great that you found kind of schools so early in your journey. I can imagine, although, some people listening probably have had to communicate on engineering projects and stuff, but I'm assuming that the storytelling is a little bit more exciting with the school that you're with.
Absolutely. I mean, just so much more personal and just these really cool moments of eye opening and learning and joy. And absolutely, it's so much
Yeah.
more fun than
So,
just rude closures.
yeah, exactly. So tell me a little bit more about your school, like the size of your school and all of that.
Yeah, so we pre-K and early childhood, so 8 weeks old through 12th grade school. We are an Episcopal school and independent school, co-ed, and it's really, really amazing place.
And about how many students?
About 500
Okay.
from early childhood through 12th grade.
Okay. Perfect. You're right in my wheelhouse, with 300, about 300 kids at my school. So I love it. So how does social media fit into your role, Megan?
It's becoming an increasingly larger part of my role. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Sort of from when I started in communications, it was kind of in its infancy. Social media was really sort of. I mean, we at the first school I worked at, I actually started their Facebook page. That's how long I've been doing this. They didn't even have one for me. um, and now we share all the time. I mean, we post on social media daily, sometimes multiple times daily, just depending on the ebb and flow of the school year and what's going on. And we have a big span of age ranges, and so there's just a ton of stories to tell. Um, and social media is a big part of my role. I also do internal communications, so school-wide parent newsletters, our website. Also do marketing. So since we're a tuition charging school, enrollment, is a big part of that as well. So I work with the development teams, the fundraising team, and then also the admissions teams.
Okay. And I'm assuming you're a one-person shop, is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, and then what channels do you run for social media?
Um, Instagram and Facebook. We also do LinkedIn, and we sort of tailor our messaging on LinkedIn to be more like alumni and sort of business focused. So we'll post more, not the day-to-day things that we share on Facebook or Instagram, not really so much of a peek into student life on LinkedIn, but more of more business focused. Like we have a board of trustees, and so we'll post news about that or about our alums. We'll reshare things if our alums are making news, things like that.
Okay. And we'll get a link to all three of those social media sites so everybody can kind of take a look. Does content kind of come to you from your staff, or are you out getting all of the pictures yourself? How does that work?
I do most of the content, but my staff, the faculty and staff will also send me a lot. And so I've sort of over the years worked with some of them more and more frequently. So a lot of them really either they sort of know themselves and they say, I know I'm not going to do this justice. I really need you to come in and take that picture. Or, they'll say, this would really, this thing we're doing in class would really lend itself to video. And they just can't do the classroom management piece and run the activity and,
Right.
do the video. So they kind of call me in. Um, it's really a mix, and then other times they'll send me everything ready to go, even the captions sometimes. So it's truly a mix. I would say probably 70% me, 30% faculty and staff, if I had to kind of put a number on it.
Okay. All right. That's helpful. So, you've really made a lot of dramatic improvements to especially your social media engagement in the last, kind of 6 to 8 months. So, tell me the percentage improvements and then kind of explain your secrets. What has been some of your strategies that have really worked?
I don't remember my specific numbers. I don't have them on.
Okay. That's okay. So just tell me in general, of what you've been able to see
Uh,
and then how you've been able to accomplish it.
yeah, we've seen a really big growth in the number of followers and in the engagement. So the shares, the likes, all of that. We've seen huge growth over the past year and a half to 2 years.
Okay.
And I really think a huge reason why, a big part of that was because um, we really focused on telling our story better. And so we had a new head of school that came in, and that really gave us a chance to kind of like stop, pause, and say, okay, what really is our unique school story? What makes us stand out? What's special about us that no other school in our area can claim? And then once we were able to really refine that messaging and get that really solid, from there we could build out, okay, what's the tone, how, what are kind of the word choices we use, like how are we going to be like a warm and welcoming, or are we going to be more like bold and visionary, sort of working through that. And then from there I kind of said, okay, what is the purpose of our social channels and what do we want them to achieve, and that helps kind of clarify and drive like what's going to be content that I'm going to use and what it's not. Um, so, for example, the two main purposes we have for our social media are to drive enrollment, so getting prospective families to be interested in our school, kind of learn what we're all about, what we do, what makes us special, and then also reinforcing for our own community, our current families, our alumni, giving them that pride piece and that sort of like, yes, this is us, like this is who we are, this is what makes us great. And so then that next sort of decision making step sort of became like, okay, now that we know the purpose, like, for example, I'm never going to post anything that's like Happy Labor Day or like Happy Father's Day or something, because that doesn't really drive my two purposes. That doesn't really fit what I'm trying to achieve there.
Right.
Um, but for example, like we did this year post like a Merry Christmas message because we're an Episcopal school that's tied into our identity. That's what we do. We had a lot of classroom activities around that. We had chapel services. We had teachers doing different activities around Christmas in their classrooms. So that sort of helps us refine better and better. And then with that, our message gets stronger and stronger.
Yeah. Well, I love just, I mean, so I hope you're listening. You're probably taking lots of notes of all of this. I mean, driving down from the vision and like like kind of who we are and what represents us, and then what we will and what we won't put on. But I mean, we're just turning the calendar, Megan, to 25-26 school year, and you got all these special days that you got to celebrate. And they're fine, but it's like if you're not truly celebrating them within your school, just like you said, we do post happy or Merry Christmas because that does tie in with us. And we may put something out if one of the classes did a Christmas activity or something like that,
Right.
but you're not tying in every little because every day there could be something, right?
Oh,
National
yeah.
National Ice Cream Day or Blueberry Day or whatever. And it's just like, no, this is about, you said, driving enrollment and creating that connection for current families and alumni. And I just jumped over to your Instagram page because I remembered when you sent me the email and then I looked at it and I'm like, oh yeah, I need Megan on the podcast. So you guys got to check out STM_Saints, okay? Because their Instagram page especially is amazing. And then you guys have done some pretty unique things with some videos as well. And maybe I'm going to get to that. But just you can sense what you guys are about just by looking at your page, and being able to see just ton of student focus, really featuring some of those things, like you said, that make you guys unique. You have been able to jump on some of the different social media trends, and some of those things, but you're tying them back, like you said, to kind of who you are and what you want your social media to really represent. So, tell me a little bit more, or maybe does that trigger anything more you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have been able to do some of the fun little trends, and we've been able to incorporate some students and some of our, as our high schoolers, since we have a high school, they have gotten really into it, and they kind of came to me and they're like, "All right, Ms. Weaver, like we want to be part of this. This is so fun." So getting them in has been really fun, and sort of like, what ideas do you have, or what trends have you seen that you think would be fun? Um, but and that's one of the things that I kept telling them is like, we're not going to do it just to do it. Like we're
Right.
not going to like do this trend just because it's funny. It has to actually be something that means something to us, that represents either kind of who we are or what we do, or just gives people a glimpse into student life and the culture and all of that, like what makes our school us. Um, because that is a pride point. Alums look at that and they say, "Oh my gosh, like the faces might have changed, but this place is exactly the same. Like the spirit is the same." And then prospective families say, "Okay, this looks like a place I want to be part of. Like this looks like the right fit for my child, our family."
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about like I'm looking at your post from Valentine's Day where it's like, what do you love about St. Martin's?
Yeah.
And so tell me how the setup, and then tell me how you did it, how you actually carried it out, and all the way into editing and posting that.
Yeah, definitely. I got a little like $20 ring light on Amazon back
Okay.
when COVID first started and we were doing this crazy thing called Zoom for the first time. And I still have it. I mean, I think, like I said, I think it cost me like $20 5 years ago. And I bring that little ring light stand out. It's like a full size. I take my iPhone, like just my iPhone, and I set it up. And I binder clipped a piece of paper. This is like very low tech. Binder clipped a piece of paper to it, and I literally just wrote on it, "What do you love about STM?" I typed it out in Canva, put some little hearts around it, printed it out, clipped it to there. And when the students walked by, I didn't say anything. I just pointed at the sign and smiled. And they just got it. They knew, I mean, intuitively, they knew, like, all right, there's a camera set up. I get what she's doing here. And I got some of the most genuine, fun, off the cuff kind of responses. Did it for all ages. So there were some like second graders. I've had little bitties answer, like pre-K students answer, all the way up to actually had a couple of 3-year-olds answer one of my questions one time because this sort of started a series that we
Okay.
started doing. But I just asked them the questions, and then from there, in real time, I'm sort of seeing, okay, these are the kinds of responses, these are the themes that are coming up, or these are the things that I keep hearing over and over again. And as I'm recording them, I'm just kind of thinking to myself, like, okay, how could this video kind of start flowing? Like, how would I want to kick it off, and then how would I want to wrap it up? Like, and a lot of times when I hear one of the students or one of the faculty members answer, I'll know, like, okay, that's the closer. Like, that's the good, that's a powerful one. Like, that's the closer. That's what I'm going to end the video with. Or um, then when I first
Okay,
started doing, oh,
I
yeah, yeah,
got a
sorry.
question before you go. Okay, so I see a microphone with your
Yeah,
logo on it, which is super cool because there's some branding. So you also have, in addition to your ring light with the phone, you also have another stand with the microphone
thank
itself.
you. I forgot about that. Yes. So yeah, I have the ring light that holds the phone itself where I, kind of start and stop the videoing as students or faculty come up. I also have a microphone stand. It's kind of a little it's honestly a dummy mic. It just looks good on camera. It doesn't
Okay.
actually connect to my phone. I have a smaller like clip on, again, like $25, $30 on Amazon, smaller mic that I clip to that microphone. So I've got the nice branding. It
I love
looks
I love this, Megan, because you guys, like so many people are like, I can't be on the podcast because like you should see how I got this thing rigged together. Dude, that is real life. And I
yeah,
love that you're sharing all of this because it's just like, okay, it's kind of just for show, but you are using a microphone, so you are picking up good sound. It's just clipped
yes.
to the back of that. I can't see that one,
So
but the bigger
yes.
one's there for show.
Absolutely. And the
Okay.
bigger one, there's also, I think, maybe like a psychological thing when the kids kind of come up to this big mic, it feels like she really wants to hear what I have to say. Like, this is
Yes.
important. And so I have kept it, it's good for the look on camera, but I also think it's powerful for the kids too, to kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
she cares. Like, like they want to hear. And they know, like, even the little bitties will be like, I have to have my mom look this up on Instagram to make sure I'm in the video. you know? So
Yeah.
they kind of like they look forward to it. And even like some of the older students will tease me, like, you cut me out of the last one. What happened? Like,
It's like I
I
can
gotta make
only
my
make it
answer
so
good this
long.
time.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I'll
Oh,
tell them.
so I have what we love about Saint Martin's
Yes, St. Martin's.
St. Martin's on and I'll link that in the show notes, but you guys can check out other videos that you've been able to do. And I see where the little taped thing was. I always thought maybe people just left the phone running, but no, you're out there, but you're not saying anything, and then you're pointing. What time of day is this? Is this like as kids are coming in for the day? Is this at lunchtime? And
So
how did you get the different age groups? Where did you set up?
yes, I typically do them at lunchtime as they're walking into the dining hall. So we have one central dining hall on campus that all the students, all ages, except for the babies, not the infants, but all the students will come through. And so that is, that's like Grand Central Station for our campus, from around 11:30 to 1:30. So when I want to get a video, if I'm only aiming for the high schoolers, for example, or only aiming for a certain age group to answer a certain specific question, I will just go at the time that they have their lunch. If I want all of them, I kind of block out that time and I know I'm there and I'm like hitting start and stop. So I'm getting these short clips. That makes it easier for me to edit than having one giant long clip. And it also helps with my phone battery. So I do start and stop
Okay.
as students come up. And then sometimes they'll say something like they'll stumble over their words and they'll say like, "Can I do that again?" or something. And so I'll just delete so that when it comes time for editing, it's faster. Like
Okay.
if I know, okay, that one, you know, one of the senior girls didn't like how their hair looked and they fixed it or something, or if, a second grader was like, oh, I changed my mind, I actually like whatever, then I'll just go and delete it so I don't have to waste the extra time in editing.
Okay. So for some of your high schoolers, did they ever ask, hey, can I watch that quick? Or not?
Um, Sometimes they have, a few times, not a
Not a
lot.
lot.
I
Okay,
mean,
good. They're
they're
just they're
definitely
particular.
they're very aware of their on-camera presence. They're very aware of all that. It's really interesting to watch. And there's some students who don't want to be part of it, and that's
Right.
totally fine. And there's some who want to be part of every single one, and that's great too.
Right. So from a timing standpoint, you're going out at lunch. What would you say, how much time do you spend just this filming part of it? Is this like total of an hour among all the age groups or what?
Yeah, I mean, it sort of depends. Like I said, there's some questions that are like age specific. So if I'm like, I had one where I asked, okay, seniors, they're class of 25, you have 25 days left of school. How do you feel? That one was really quick because I caught them pretty much all at one time. And I was out there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes tops.
Okay.
But if it's something where I want that full age range, because again, because I'm focusing, because I know messaging and I know what is important to us. One of the really big things about our school that's really special is that our students in all these different grades have these relationships. They have these moments where they're all seeing each other. So it's not uncommon for a senior and a kindergartner to know each other really well. And so if there's a video where that's the message of it, that's part of it, then that will take longer because they have wildly different schedules, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. So now you've got all of your video clips. How do you put this together? What's your methodology of, and like what software do you use? And then how do you get it published? I'm assuming you publish it both on Facebook and Instagram, but tell me those details.
When I first started doing it, I was working within the Instagram app, editing
Okay.
within the Instagram app. And that was it was a little clunky at times. It could be kind of problematic. I have sometimes used Adobe Rush, the
Okay.
phone version of that. I feel like I've tried them all at this
Yeah.
point. I tried out CapCut. Trying to think of what else. The one I've really been liking Instagram edits
Okay.
lately. So it's usually between edits or CapCut, just depending on the kind of video I'm doing. If it's something where it's like a trend and there's already a template in CapCut, I will just go into that because that is going to be the fastest route. Like if there's already a template in there, it's already got everything I need. I just need to add my personal clips in. I will do it in CapCut.
Okay.
Um, if not, I like edits. I've been using edits quite a bit. And then from there, I will download it to my phone and then post. I have it set to auto post. Like if I post on Instagram, it will auto share the reel in Facebook as
Is
well.
okay.
So I'm just posting it in one spot, but it's going to both.
Okay. That's similar to what I do. And I haven't really checked out too much of edits. I'm imagining with Instagram app because I am a fan of using that, but I have noticed when you are clipping together a lot of little clips, sometimes it can error out on you and that or the sound can go away all of a sudden. And
Yes.
so that's probably, some of the limitations of that app itself, but you've noticed that the IG Edits app that they have, that's really been working well.
Yes.
Okay.
Truth be told, I did not have high hopes because I was having so much frustration with the Instagram editing. Um, but I really do like it a lot. There's a lot of cool features in there, and they do keep updating it. But I've heard a lot of people that work with CapCut more saying that it's pretty similar to CapCut.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I can't even hear it. So you're good.
oh, okay.
Okay. So You focused your social media obviously on the storytelling of, and the engagement of current students, but you're also in charge of marketing. So you're trying to get staff or admissions for students, student admissions. How do you do that, and how do you measure that when it comes to trying to attract new students?
Yeah. So there's a couple of different ways we measure that. I don't know that any of them are necessarily perfect, but in our inquiry form, we do ask how people have heard about us. Social media is one of the options. Our admission staff will specifically tell families in the admission process, like, you know, either let's say they're scheduling a tour and they haven't come on the tour yet. They'll say, like, in the meantime, check out our social media, like take a look. It really gives you a feel for what it's like a day in the life of a student. And so we've gotten a lot of anecdotal when they're on the tour, like, yes, we loved that, we saw that, or someone shared that with me. So we've gotten a little bit of that. Like I said, we asked them in the inquiry form. And then also, as I'm working with admissions staff, I can see our new followers if they have a public account, and I can see if any of the names are matching up to those that are joining the admissions process, getting into our funnel. So,
Hmm.
like I said, none of those methods are truly perfect, but
Yeah.
it's given us a feel for, okay, this seems to be kind of picking up and we're gaining steam.
Okay. So I'm assuming there are people that are marking, hey, I did hear about you or see you guys on social media.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, it's such a great way to be able to share, what you guys are doing. Um, what are some of the ways that you encourage staff to share stories with you? Are there
Yes.
certain times of the year that you're really trying to encourage them? You said you're about 70/30, which
Mhm.
if you guys take a look at the page, I mean, you can tell that you're taking a lot of the pictures, which I always tell people, hey, even a blurry picture it's okay. Like I know
Right.
we're careful with what we share, but we want to be able to celebrate the great things happening. But yeah, how do you really encourage that staff content?
So we have a series of back to school meetings in August with different faculty and staff. And so I will meet and speak with new faculty and kind of, give them the rundown about sort of everything we do and how I can help them with logos and Canva accounts and all the other parts of my job. And then I will also talk to current faculty as well. So we do it with specifically with the new faculty meetings, and then as all faculty and staff.
Okay.
And I think you know just having been in schools so long, I've sort of picked up on faculty. They really want to help, but they have so much on their plates. And if you just tell them, like, oh, send me your stories, or if you have anything newsworthy, share it with me, it's almost like too ambiguous. They can't like decipher what that even means, and they've got 5,000 other things they need to do. And so it's not that they don't want to help, it's just that it's like sort of like almost decision fatigue. Like, I have no idea what that even means, and I don't even know to where to begin. And then, that's one piece. And then the other thing I often see is they're just so brilliant and so good at what they're doing that they think what they're doing is just normal and not all that newsworthy. And then I will walk into their classroom and I'm like, why didn't you tell me about this? Like, this is amazing. Like, this is incredible. And they're like, oh, it's just Tuesday. And so I think they're so humble. They don't really understand, like, no, this is a great story. Like, this is a really innovative, cool thing you're doing. Like, I want to share this. Literally one time, there was this science teacher who did this really cool, like, fireball experiment, and I covered it the year before, and then in passing, he said, "Oh yeah, we did that last week." And I was like, "Oh, why didn't you tell me? Like, what? He's like, "Well, you already covered it. It's not that big of a deal. Like, we've already done it. It's not, like, oh, this is really amazing. This is a cool thing." And so I think sometimes they just don't have an understanding of, like, what you're doing is really special and really newsworthy. And so we want to share that. So I think the way that you frame the request to them is really important because when we really refined our messaging, we we came out with 5 pillars, like 5 different things that we think makes the St. Martin's experience. It's our Episcopal tradition, is academic excellence, a love of thinking and learning, a campus of opportunity, and a supportive and diverse community. And so when I was able to articulate that to them, and then when they started seeing, I'll even use hashtags in the posts that fit our different pillars, the more faculty have seen that, the more I've gotten them to say, like, oh, I have a story that I think is a love of thinking and learning for you. Like they're starting to kind of frame it in those messaging pillars. And I think it's just made it more concrete for them to say, like, this is a great Episcopal identity story. Like I know that this fits that. And it's made the content kind of flow my way a little easier. And so it's not always necessarily that they take the picture or they do the video and they send it to me. Sometimes it's just they give me the heads up. I've got this cool thing coming up in class next week or in the next hour or whatever it might be. It's really helped kind of open up that flow of stories a little more.
And it sounds like you, over the years, how long have you been at this school?
I'm going to be starting my 7th year.
So over 7 years, you've really built relationships. And we
Mhm.
talk about, public relations, like the big word in there is relationships, and it's within your internal team of kind of developing those relationships. And then once you were able to frame it, I think what you shared is just brilliant. You guys, your staff's humble, and you kind of got an ambiguous ask when you just say, share, send stories, send stuff that's awesome. It's just like, well, everything could be awesome or nothing could be awesome. So you're really trying to frame that request. Now, I'd like you kind of came up with 5 different pillars. Can you just talk about those a little bit slower and then give me an example of a post or a story that you've been able to share in the last year that helped highlight that one item? So I started writing and I got a little ways, but I just want to slow that down. And I know we're going a little bit over. I hope that's okay, everybody. But can we break that down that way,
Yeah.
Megan?
So I'm gonna actually pull up our page so I can
Okay.
scroll quickly to kind of give me an idea. So our first pillar is our Episcopal identity. So we're an Episcopal school, um, and sort of it our that pillar just talks about like what makes us an Episcopal school. Um, and so let's see, a post. So that might be let me see. I'm kind of scrolling here. We've had some summer camp posts, so
Well, do you do certain events each year that kind of
yeah, I
mark
mean,
it?
that could be anything with chapel. It could
Yeah.
also be, the Episcopal faith is a really warm and welcoming faith, and we affirm other people's faith traditions as well.
Okay.
So we will often have like a Jewish rabbi come and speak to our students and talk about like what a Seder meal is or something. And so that would also qualify for our Episcopal tradition because we have our faith tradition as a school, but we recognize that our families come from all walks of life, and we have many Jewish students, and we celebrate their faith tradition as well.
Okay.
And so that would be an example of Episcopal tradition.
I love that.
Acad- Academic excellence. I mean, our students are achieving all these incredible things, and I mean, we had a number of with our senior class of just these amazing scholarships that they've earned, and big plans that they have. And so we've got a ton of academic excellence examples.
Okay.
Um, and then a love of thinking and learning is, it goes beyond just powerful academics. It's sparking that lifelong love of learning within students and kind of opening up that curiosity, unlocking that in our students. So we had some videos about, we have a really amazing lower school science teacher, and she was giving students a hands-on look at storm surges and how that affects the wetlands in Louisiana. And so I have a video kind of breaking down that science experiment and I mean, she had a fan out there. She was throwing buckets of water on these like homemade little houses that they had created in class. So that's really getting them to think deeply and unlock. It's more than just kind of like preparing for a test and acing a test. It's
Right. And
really
I
that
bet I bet
deep.
you had some oohs and ahs, like, the kids when they're interested in learning or excited about that. So that was the love of thinking and learning. So now we're on number four. What's number four?
So a supportive and diverse community. So
Okay.
that is just all about us welcoming all, loving all in our community. So there's a lot of examples of that. We're just a really strong, tight knit community. The Valentine's Day video you mentioned actually is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Um, and then a campus of opportunity really speaks to, we have an 18-acre campus that has a ton of fantastic amenities. But more than that, it's kind of about our students can really do anything at St. Martin's. They don't have to follow one path. They don't have to choose, am I going to be an athlete or am I going to be an artist? Like we have, had captains of the football team also be in the spring play musical,
Mhm.
So um, we had a really big video that was really popular. It's was during homecoming. Our choir sang the national anthem, and in the choir, you could see as I was panning the camera of videoing them sing the national anthem. You can see there are football players that are in the choir. There's homecoming court members in the choir, and you can see just what they're wearing. That really kind of speaks to like our students are free to try anything, and they can be brave to try anything, and um, they're really supported and cared for here, and that really brings that out in them.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, as we wrap up, I always like to ask, what is your best social media tip that you'd like to share with the listeners? What would your best tip be?
Um, I would say really taking, I guess, okay, so two, taking the time to really hone your story and your messaging and all of that. And that will take you time on the front end, but it will save you so many hours of needless, like spinning your wheels throughout the school year. So, really focusing on that, it just adds so much clarity and helps you say, like, okay, this is a story worth pursuing, or I know this one's really powerful and really is going to resonate with our school community. So it's worth it, the fact that it took an hour to edit this video, or whatever that might be. I think it's just it takes you time on the front end, it saves you time in the long run.
Yeah.
That's a big one. And then I think the other one would be sort of having this like multi-platform mindset. So
Hmm.
meaning like, I'll create a video that I know is for Instagram and Facebook, but then I will take it and I will make it a news story on our website, and I'll embed that video on our website. So now it's also driving our SEO. Um, and that also might end up in a newsletter as well.
Hmm.
So, and then to do that in a time saving way, utilizing AI to help you kind of with the repurposing part, just so that you're not spending another hour or two trying to repurpose it, that using AI and help making it that speeds up those tasks a lot.
Yeah. Oh, great stuff. I love this conversation, Megan. Thank you for writing that email, because now we're able to share what you're doing with so many other folks. What would be the best way if somebody's listening to this and be like, oh, I just need to ask Megan a few more questions? What would be the best way to stay connected to you?
Yeah, I mean, you could always DM us on social media, STM_Saints, or send me an email.
Okay.
Um, and I can give you that and you can put that in the show notes, I guess.
Yeah, the show notes, you guys will have the link. And when you're listening to this, and it's just basically off my website, every episode has its own landing page. We're also out there on the different channels. And so, like, if you're listening on your podcast app, just go to the show notes and you'll have direct links to all of those. Um, Biggest one is just go to their Facebook and Instagram page and check it out. We'll also have a link to their LinkedIn. And then I feel like those interviews with the microphone stand is really where I want to challenge our student interns this year to go. We've done some interviews and they're on camera as well. And we've just done questions of the week. So they're kind of fun stuff. But I think you can get a little bit deeper And like you said, you gave some great advice, like having the microphone there, it's like it's giving them importance. And then, let's a lot of different people be part of it. You're not just going out and selecting different people, like they can walk up if they feel like they'd like to answer that question. So those are a couple key takeaways for me today, Megan, but I know other people have others. Um,
Yeah.
as we're kind of wrapping up, is there anything else that you want to kind of end with?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be fun if everybody kind of challenged themselves to do one of those mic videos. I mean, the questions can be as lighthearted or as deep as you want. I mean, one of them literally was like, "What's your favorite lunch in the dining hall?" I mean, but what's really cool about those is just seeing how everybody kind of rallies around the kids and how excited they get to see themselves, and the parents how excited they get. The number of parents that told me like never stop doing those. Those are so fun. Has been really neat.
Yeah. I love it. Well, if you're listening to this and you're like, "Hey, we got some awesome stuff too," and just like Megan, we kind of are making some things kind of using duct tape or whatever we need to do, but that's real life, and I'm sure that you just helped a lot of people be able to figure out how to do those. So I'm excited, and I like Megan's challenge. So you guys, we're challenging you. This is a formal challenge. This is also a formal challenge to myself, Megan, because we need to do this. I think I could do it on the first day of school, right? Like if we set
Yeah.
up like what are you most excited about this for this school year?
Yeah. What did
Um,
you miss about your school over the summer? Or what are you most excited about? What are you looking forward to? Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
absolutely. So you guys send those in, Andrea at socialschool4edu.com. You can send those in. We'll make sure that Megan sees those too. But we'd love to hold you accountable to try that out, and then eventually we'll write a whole blog about all these ideas that schools can take on. Thanks for your inspiration, Megan. Thanks for being connected.
Thank
I really
you.
enjoyed this conversation.
Me too. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and everybody keep telling those stories, whether school has started already or whether it's about to start. You got this. We've got great stories to share. People need the positivity out of our schools from our students and staff. And we'll be back here next week with another great guest. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.